Mental strength is not something people are born with. It is something they build through consistent habits practiced every single day. The ancient Stoics understood this truth thousands of years ago, teaching that true power comes not from wealth, status, or external success, but from mastering your own mind. In today's world, people are constantly distracted by social media, endless notifications, comparison, and the pressure to seek validation from others. Many individuals allow their emotions to control their actions, reacting impulsively to criticism, setbacks, and failures. Stoicism offers a different path. It teaches us that we cannot control everything that happens around us, but we can always control our thoughts, decisions, and responses. Mentally strong people do not avoid difficulties. Instead, they face challenges with courage and calmness. They understand that suffering is part of life and that adversity can become a powerful teacher. Every obstacle contains an opportunity for growth if we choose to view it correctly. Developing a Stoic mindset means training yourself to remain composed under pressure, staying focused on what truly matters, and refusing to waste energy on things outside your control. The first habit of mentally strong Stoics is accepting reality exactly as it is. They do not complain endlessly about circumstances, nor do they wish for a different past. Instead, they ask themselves, "What can I do now?" This simple shift in thinking transforms frustration into action and weakness into resilience. By practicing acceptance daily, you begin to cultivate a mind that is steady, disciplined, and prepared for whatever life presents. Another powerful Stoic habit that builds mental strength is practicing self-discipline consistently, even when motivation disappears. Modern society often glorifies motivation as the secret ingredient for success, but Stoics understood that motivation is temporary and unreliable. Discipline, however, remains dependable because it is built through repeated action rather than fleeting emotion. Mentally strong individuals wake up and complete their responsibilities, whether they feel inspired or not. They understand that emotions fluctuate, but principles remain constant. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning that he was created to fulfill his duties, not to seek comfort. This mindset changes everything. Instead of asking, "Do I feel like doing this today?" a Stoic asks, "Is this the right thing to do?" This perspective eliminates excuses and encourages personal responsibility. Discipline extends beyond work and productivity. It also applies to controlling desires, managing anger, limiting distractions, and maintaining healthy routines. A person with discipline understands that short-term pleasure often creates long-term regret. This mindset changes everything. Instead of asking, "Do I feel like doing this today?" a Stoic asks, "Is this the right thing to do?" This perspective eliminates excuses and encourages personal responsibility. Discipline extends beyond work and productivity. It also applies to controlling desires, managing anger, limiting distractions, and maintaining healthy routines. A person with discipline understands that short-term pleasure often creates long-term regret, while temporary discomfort frequently leads to lasting rewards. Every time you resist procrastination, avoid unnecessary arguments, or choose growth over comfort, you strengthen your character. Just as muscles become stronger through resistance, the mind develops resilience through repeated acts of self-control. Over time, these small decisions compound, creating an individual who remains focused, composed, and determined regardless of external circumstances. Stoicism teaches us that the strongest people are not those who dominate others, but those who have learned to master themselves completely. The third Stoic habit that develops exceptional mental strength is learning how to control emotions rather than allowing emotions to control you. Stoicism does not teach people to suppress feelings or become cold and detached from life. Instead, it teaches individuals to understand their emotions, examine them carefully, and respond with wisdom instead of reacting impulsively. Most people become prisoners of temporary emotions. A single criticism ruins their day, an unexpected setback destroys their confidence, or an argument fills their minds with anger for hours. Stoics recognize that emotions themselves are not the enemy. Rather, the danger lies in becoming controlled by them. When something unpleasant happens, a Stoic pauses and asks, "Is this event truly harmful, or is my interpretation making it harmful?" This small moment of reflection creates space between stimulus and response, allowing reason to guide actions instead of impulse. Consider how many mistakes people make when angry, jealous, fearful, or frustrated. Decisions driven by uncontrolled emotions often lead to regret. Stoics train themselves through daily reflection, journaling, and mindfulness to recognize emotional patterns before they become destructive. They understand that anger consumes the person who carries it. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that external events cannot damage the soul unless we permit them to do so. Mentally strong people do not seek a life free from emotions, they seek mastery over their reactions. They learn to remain calm in difficult conversations, patient during delays, and composed when facing uncertainty. Emotional control is not achieved overnight. It is developed through repeated practice and conscious awareness. Each time you choose patience over anger, understanding over resentment, and reason over impulse, you strengthen your inner character and become increasingly resilient against life's inevitable challenges. The fourth Stoic habit that creates an unbreakable mindset is focusing only on what lies within your control, while letting go of everything that does not. His principle forms the foundation of Stoic philosophy and remains incredibly relevant in modern life. Many people waste enormous amounts of energy worrying about other people's opinions, economic conditions, political events, unexpected outcomes, and situations they simply cannot influence. This constant worrying produces stress, anxiety, frustration, and emotional exhaustion. Stoics understood that peace begins when we clearly distinguish between what belongs to us and what does not. Our thoughts, choices, attitudes, actions, and efforts are within our control. However, the opinions of others, the weather, the past, and many external events remain outside our influence. Mentally strong individuals direct their energy exclusively toward areas where they can make a meaningful difference. Instead of worrying about whether everyone approves of them, they focus on becoming better human beings. Instead of fearing failure, they concentrate on giving their best effort. Instead of dwelling on past mistakes, they extract lessons and move forward. This mindset liberates people from unnecessary suffering because it shifts attention from uncertainty to responsibility. Imagine the freedom that comes from no longer depending on praise, validation, or perfect circumstances to feel content. Stoics teach that happiness does not arise from controlling the world, but from mastering oneself within the world. By practicing this habit consistently, you become less reactive, more confident, and significantly more peaceful. Over time, focusing only on what you can control transforms your perspective, allowing you to navigate life's storms with greater stability, clarity, and inner strength. The fifth Stoic habit that strengthens the mind is embracing discomfort instead of constantly seeking comfort. Modern society encourages convenience in almost every aspect of life. We seek instant entertainment, instant gratification, and immediate satisfaction. However, Stoics believed that comfort, when pursued excessively, weakens character and reduces resilience. They intentionally practiced voluntary discomfort to prepare themselves for life's inevitable hardships. This could involve waking up early, exercising regularly, fasting occasionally, limiting luxuries, or willingly choosing difficult tasks. The purpose was not self-punishment, but self-development. Stoics understood that by exposing themselves to controlled discomfort, they became less fearful of uncertainty and more confident in their ability to handle adversity. Mentally strong people recognize that growth rarely occurs inside comfort zones. Progress requires effort, sacrifice, and persistence. Every challenge faced voluntarily strengthens your confidence because it proves that you are capable of enduring more than you previously believed. When obstacles arise unexpectedly, those who have trained themselves through disciplined discomfort respond with calmness rather than panic. They understand that temporary suffering often produces long-term rewards. Whether it is resisting distractions, maintaining healthy habits, or working diligently toward goals, embracing discomfort builds resilience that remains valuable throughout life. The Stoics believed that hardship reveals character, and that adversity can serve as a powerful teacher. By becoming comfortable with discomfort, individuals develop greater confidence, patience, and emotional stability. They stop fearing challenges and begin viewing them as opportunities to improve themselves. The sixth Stoic habit that contributes to mental toughness is practicing gratitude every single day. At first glance, gratitude may appear simple, but Stoics considered it one of the most powerful tools for maintaining inner peace and emotional balance. Human beings naturally focus on what they lack rather than appreciating what they already possess. This constant pursuit of more often creates dissatisfaction, envy, and unnecessary stress. Stoics trained themselves to appreciate ordinary experiences that many people take for granted, such as good health, meaningful relationships, opportunities for learning, and the simple fact of being alive. Marcus Aurelius often reflected on the blessings already present in his life, rather than obsessing over what was missing. Gratitude shifts the mind away from scarcity and toward abundance. It reminds individuals that happiness is not found solely in future achievements, but can also exist in the present moment. Mentally strong people understand that life is unpredictable and that circumstances can change quickly. By appreciating what they have today, they cultivate contentment and resilience. Gratitude also helps reduce anxiety because it redirects attention from fear toward appreciation. A person who practices gratitude consistently becomes less dependent on external validation and material possessions for happiness. Instead, they develop an internal sense of fulfillment that remains stable despite changing conditions. Over time, gratitude transforms perspective, making challenges appear more manageable and victories more meaningful. It teaches us to value experiences, relationships, and opportunities while maintaining humility and peace of mind, even during difficult periods. The seventh Stoic habit that builds extraordinary mental strength is learning the art of silence and thoughtful speech. In a world filled with endless noise, opinions, arguments, and distractions, Stoics understood that silence possesses immense power. They believed that not every thought needs to be spoken, and not every criticism deserves a response. Mentally strong individuals choose their words carefully because they understand that speech can either strengthen relationships or create unnecessary conflict. Most people react immediately when they feel offended, misunderstood, or challenged, but Stoics practice restraint. They pause, reflect, and ask themselves whether speaking will improve the situation or simply satisfy their emotions. This habit develops patience, emotional intelligence, and self-control. Silence also creates opportunities for observation and learning. When people speak less, they listen more attentively and understand others more deeply. Stoics recognized that wisdom often comes from careful observation rather than constant expression. They understood that unnecessary talking can lead to mistakes, misunderstandings, and wasted energy. A disciplined mind knows when to speak, when to listen, and when to remain silent. In professional settings, relationships that truly deserve their attention. The eighth Stoic habit that strengthens the mind is accepting failure as a necessary part of growth rather than viewing it as a permanent defeat. Many people fear failure because they associate it with embarrassment, weakness, or inadequacy. This fear prevents them from taking risks, pursuing goals, or embracing new opportunities. Stoics, however, viewed failure differently. They believed that setbacks are inevitable and that every obstacle carries a lesson capable of improving character. Mentally strong individuals understand that failure is not evidence of incompetence, but proof that they are actively trying to improve their lives. They refuse to allow temporary setbacks to define their identity. Instead, they analyze mistakes objectively, identify areas for improvement, and continue moving forward with greater wisdom. The Stoic philosopher Seneca taught that difficulties strengthen the soul just as exercise strengthens the body. Without challenges, individuals remain fragile and unprepared for life's uncertainties. Failure teaches patience, humility, perseverance, and adaptability. It encourages people to focus on effort rather than outcomes, because outcomes are not always within their control. Stoics measure success not by immediate victories, but by their commitment to acting with integrity, courage, and determination. Every unsuccessful attempt provides valuable information that contributes to future success. Mentally strong people do not ask, "Why did this happen to me?" Instead, they ask, "What can this experience teach me?" This mindset transforms adversity into education and disappointment into growth. By embracing failure as a teacher rather than an enemy, individuals become more resilient, confident, and capable of overcoming future challenges with wisdom and determination. The ninth Stoic habit that creates lasting mental strength is maintaining a daily practice of self-reflection. Stoics believed that true improvement begins when individuals honestly examine their own thoughts, behaviors, and decisions. At the end of each day, they would ask themselves important questions. What did I do well today? Where did I lose control of my emotions? What can I improve tomorrow? His habit transforms ordinary experiences into valuable lessons because every success and every mistake becomes an opportunity for growth. Mentally strong people do not blame others for their circumstances. Instead, they accept responsibility for their actions and continuously seek ways to become better. Self-reflection develops awareness, discipline, and emotional intelligence, allowing individuals to identify harmful patterns before they become habits. Imagine spending just 10 minutes every evening reviewing your day and gradually becoming wiser, calmer, and more resilient over time. This simple practice can completely transform the way you approach challenges, relationships, and personal goals. But here's a question for you. Which Stoic habit do you think is the hardest to practice consistently? Discipline, emotional control, silence, or self-reflection? The 10th and final Stoic habit is remembering that life is temporary and that every day should be lived with intention. Stoics frequently reflected on mortality, not to become fearful, but to appreciate the value of time. They understood that our days are limited, which means every moment carries significance. Mentally strong people do not postpone their dreams indefinitely, delay important conversations, or waste countless hours seeking approval from others. They focus on what truly matters, becoming better individuals, serving others, and living according to their values. When you realize that time is your most precious resource, distractions lose their power,